Hey, welcome to Live Action Leatherworks. I'm your host, Jeff Baker, and now we're going to get into the Stitch Groover. I haven't used this yet on the channel, but I sure love it, and it's a great tool. So what we have here, again, is the Stitch Groover. It's got this barrel here, and a little arm that slides along the barrel. And what it will do is, there's a small hole here at the end, and a little razor, and you're just going to drag it along the leather and it'll cut out a groove. What that groove will do is allow you to have a good guideline for your stitches and make sure they're going to be good and straight, as well as being allow you to flatten those stitches and get them good and flush with the leather so they don't snag and break. So here we go. We're going to take the Stitch Groover. Now I've got to open it up, so I'm taking a little screwdriver here. I just got these little, basically like computer screwdrivers. Oop, there we go, it's opened up. And now we're going to try to find a good distance for this stitch. And I'm wanting to find something that's going to be about in the middle. Right, I want to find something that's going to be between the outer edge and our beveled edge. So a good equidistance apart. And I can do just a small little, mar. I'm not actually going to pull, just see where it's going to show up. That looks good. And then I'll just close it up. Just tighten the top there. It's just got a little screw at the top, and it helps tighten this bar. All right, it's a little close. All right, now just like the wing divider, you're going to basically take this outer edge here of the tube, and that's going to sit on the outside edge of the leather, and that's going to be the guide. And then you're just going to move this out of the way. We're just going to press down and pull back, and we're getting a nice groove in the leather. Around this edge, you can see I'm getting this string of leather. Ooh. Let me just pop this off and show you what we've got going on here. So there you can see we've got this nice groove running along the leather there. And we'll also be using some prongs to find out where the stitches are going to lay. And this groove will also help us line up those prongs and make sure they stay straight, which we'll get into that a little bit later. But just wanted to let you know that's kind of the purpose of doing this. I just needed to go over that once more. And I'm giving it a little bit of pressure just to make sure that it's getting in there and making a good cut. Yeah, periodically I gotta get rid of those the little leather threads, if you will, just because they kind of get in the way. Being able to see what I'm doing. Doing this really makes me realize how long this belt is. All right, we have laid in that stitch line. Ooh. All right, and that's really all there is to it for the stitch groover. I think I'm gonna have to go over a little section here and didn't quite get a good impression. So after this, we want to burnish our edges because we're getting ready to dye everything. And the reason why I wanted to do this and before dyeing was, again, to make sure that that dye is going to get, into that stitch groove and just be a part of the whole look. Now, you can do something interesting. Obviously, you could dye first. Just use the stitch groover and lay in a decorative line that becomes a contrast line. It could be really cool doing that way. You're not going to stitch anything. You just want this really interesting bright line throughout your work that's showing the leather underneath after you've dyed. So just a little fun tip, something you can try in your own project if you would like. So now we're going to do our edges. We've talked about this in our last video, but it's always good to take care of your edges, and it's something I'll say, and I'll say again and again and again. The mark of a great project is what is done with the edges. Seems kind of silly, but I think it's one of those detail things that can really take your project from being pretty good to stellar and great, is what you do with those edges. And a lot of people might not notice, but it's going to be felt, and just as they look at it, they'll understand. So let's do that. Let's get our edge slickers into a little bit of water, and we'll get started.